So we're still surrounded by a lot of ancient Egyptian symbolism. You know, all of these so-called mystery school teachings from ancient Egypt, they're still very prevalent. They're still very relevant in our existence, right? In our architecture, in our product manufacturing, all those things. This whole world that we live in is basically springboarded from all of those ancient teachings. For example, if you look at a door lock, for example. Let's check this video out of, I took some footage from my home on my doorknobs. Look at these locks. Like, you see how when it's not locked, it's horizontal, right? It's laying down, right? That is a representation of feminine energy, okay? That is how you know that your door is not locked. It's flat, okay? It's the same position your body lies in when it's dead. It's the same position that the female lies in to become impregnated. It's symbolic of that passive energy, okay? So if you look at when it is locked, it's upright. It's upright like you're alive, right? You're standing. So there's energy there. There is the masculine energy, the generative principle that if you look at some of the like the Osiris, Isis, and Horus teachings, you know, a lot of the teachings are symbolically about the phallus. And you're talking about erection, upright position, masculine energy, right? Aggressiveness, moving, action, right? So that's how you know that your door is locked, when it's in the upright position. So, you know, even if you look at, you know, some of the tools that the ancient Egyptians used in their building processes were tools like squares, tools like levels, plumb rules, stuff like that. So if you do look at this square, for example, right, you have a square and you have the same thing here with the square that you have on your doorknob locks. You have the horizontal feminine symbolism here, the passive energy, the lying down, right? The feminine attributes, and you also have the masculine attribute, what, you know, we would consider an erect phallus, an upright position, right? So you have that aggressive energy, you have that action and that motion and that generative principle. And the cool thing about the tool of the square is that it encompasses both of those attributes together to make a complete tool, right? Because really it takes both male and female energies to come out with the best result, no matter, you know, what you're doing in life. If it's just philosophical or physically creating something, you're going to need both of those in order to have a productive outcome and a great result. So another cool tool, of course, is the level, right? Obviously, this is not what a level would have looked like back in ancient times. We've kind of advanced our technology a little bit, but if you see the bubble, right, it's either centered or it's not, right? It's either centered or it's to one side or the other. Okay, so you know, when you meet with somebody on the level, there's a saying, meet on the level. So what that means is if you're going to meet with somebody on the level, you don't want to look at them through the lens of good or bad, okay? You want to center yourself in a non-judgmental state, okay? That is the sign of a true initiate, somebody who does not judge the world through a good or bad lens, but somebody who understands that humans are just humans. We're all just trying to make it in this world and do what we think is right, okay? Now, I know that it's a lot more complicated than that, but that's the gist of meeting on the level, is being able to stay centered and not react either way, extreme from either way of good or bad, or some opinion of yours, or some rumor, or something that would cause you to lean one way, but you're dealing with that person on the level, okay? So that is something that, is a good exercise, is try to learn to live your life level, okay? That's why they say level-headed, he's a level-headed man. So, another way that you can look at it is that, we live in this realm of duality where we see the world through either, a negative lens or a positive lens. And that's the thing, is that this world of duality can trap you. It can keep you looking at things through a roller coaster sort of experience where you're looking at things constantly judging them, okay? That's why you come back to the level and you try to center yourself. You try to center yourself in reality. That's what it's all about. It's about getting outside of your head, because there's a lot that goes on in your head that's not real, okay? There's a lot of thoughts, a lot of activity, and a lot of it is just useless garbage. A lot of it is negative. Some of it's positive. Hey, cool. But the thing is you have to realize, you have to be able to see and understand that, okay, this stuff that's going on in my head is not really reality. What's reality is that I'm standing here in the physical realm breathing, okay? My heart is pumping blood. I'm feeling the wind blow on my skin. I'm feeling either hot or cold, stuff like that. It has nothing to do with your system of judgment where you're looking at the world through good or bad. You have to remain on the level. And if you look at the brain is divided up into two sides, right? And we see that on the right side we have the feminine energy, on the left side of the brain we have the masculine energy. And so the idea is not to lean too far on either side, but to be able to actually decide what side that you're going to need and utilize, and will it, right? You will your own where your attention goes, okay? If you want to live in a more positive world, it's up to you to decide to make it a more positive world. You have to decide. You have to take the helm. You have to take the steers. And you have to decide, am I going to be in a bad mood today? Am I going to be in a good mood today? Because it's ultimately up to you, and there's nothing that anybody else can do. And if it is something that somebody else is doing for you, then it's temporary. It's not going to be something that is permanent and lasts, because you don't know how to do it yourself, but you're depending on other people to actually make that happen. That's just a horrible way to live. So if you want to be able to be happy, you have to be able to take the reins and direct your attention. Because where attention goes, energy flows. That's just a fact. That is just a fact. You give it energy. You decide what thoughts you give energy. You decide what emotions that you give energy. It's all up to you. You have to decide. What did Buddha say? He said, wanting reality to be something that it's not is the root of all suffering. Plain and simple, okay? So, coming back to the level, this is a good... It's a very good allegory, right? You see, you keep your bubble centered. You keep your bubble in the center. That's level. That's why they call it level-headed, because you are a level person. You're able to take control. You're able to put that bubble back in the center, okay? Instead of having it tilt from one extreme to the other extreme and being tossed to and fro on the ocean of despair, or whatever you want to call it, the ocean of chaos, right? You got all these things in the world of duality that are pulling you back and forth, right? You have to be able to develop your will, to be able to grab a hold of the reins of your attention. Where are you going to direct your attention? It's up to you. You are the one that is in control. You have got to take that back. You have to. If you want to be a happy person, if you want to change your perspective, if you want to change anything in your life, you have got to understand that where you direct your attention is where you're going to place the energy in your life. If you want to have a happy life, you better think happy thoughts. And it sounds cliche and silly, but it's a fact, because you're giving energy to the thoughts that rule and govern your life. So that's the thing. The question is how have you suffered enough? Have you suffered enough that you're done? you're just done. You know, you can't take any more. You have to do something. You have to make a change. It's going to depend on you. A lot of people, you know, they don't have to suffer. They are masters of willpower, okay? It doesn't come easy for everybody, and it depends, you know, on a lot of different reasons. You know, the way that you were raised, your mentality, something has, you know, everybody's different in that sense. But the question is, are you one of those people that have the power to just, you know, take the reins and decide that you're going to give your energy to positive thoughts? Or are you somebody that's going to have to suffer a lot? You know, are you going to have to go through so much anguish and pain till you finally have had enough, and then you make the change? And that's what we got to be careful about, is that we don't let ourselves get so broken down before we actually make a change in our lives. So remember, you are the one that is in control with the reins in your hand. It's like if you go back to the old Abraxas analogy, right? You look at Abraxas, he's got the tassels in his hands, and he's got these 4 horse that are down below. I believe this was Plato's philosophy on Abraxas, where he talked about being able to control those horses. You know, you are the one.